News. News. The 10 biggest things around the tabletop scene. What do you need to know? What do I know? What are my opinions on them already? You ready? Let's freaking go. A little bit of crossover from the previous week earlier in August, but a little bit of new stuff. I mean, we have to start with the biggest one, right? It's brass. I talked about this when it was at the end of even 2024. There were rumors it was going to go benchmark in the end of quarter four in that aspect. But now, Roxley has let us know that the third title, right? If you made a list of the top 15 cities of contention of the next brass game, would any in America have made that top 15 list? And would Pittsburgh have been on that list for you? No, not for me, but that's what we've got going on. Wallace and Gavin Brown are giving it to us in 19th century Steel Belt of America. Carnegie, Rockefeller, Frick, and Vanderbilt are going for it. Built on the previous system, standalone, new mechanism, new content, and giving you the strategic depth you want. February 3, 2026. Right? Has there been a game recently announced within, say, I don't know, the last year that is going to have higher expectations than this? Right? And I would have said that probably even before Brass overtook Gloomhaven as the number one game on Board Game Geek. Because people are so in love with this game. Like, this is the heavier Euro on that aspect of things. Like, it is widely panned as just awesome, 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 awesome. Is this a good entry point? Is it going to be more complex? Is it going to be just sideways step this way in terms of complexity? And inevitably, just like other things along the lines of even your Great Western Trails, your nemesis, if you will, which one is going to be the entry point? Is this going to be an age of innovation compared to a Gaia Project Terra Mystica? Or is it just going to be a Nemesis Retaliation, Nemesis Lockdown, Nemesis, and choose your own poison of which one you really, really like in that regard? No one has a clue. So, going back to last week, though, we talked about the sneak announcement from Leader Games of their new game, Take, with no details. Now we have some details. Deets. Not cooperative. Not cooperative. They did a studio chat. They laid out information for us in the form that it is going to be head-to-head competitive heisting for 3 to 5 players. Again, that is a very interesting player count. Now, I would make the argument, if you're really going to do the thematic incorporation in that way, I mean, that, from a mechanical standpoint, makes a lot of sense, right? Head-to-head heist, you might as well make it a 2-player game. 3 to 5. But you need to, in some way, shape, or form, cooperate to actually make the heist go over well. So there's going to be some element there as, again, I'm not going to call it a semi-co-op, but it's a semi-co-op, right? But you're avoiding that label because that is like the label of death, I feel like, in our hobby. People look at that and go, semi-cooperative, that's going to be terrible. And it's going to be cutthroat, though, with a common goal and, well, apparently lighter and goofier maybe than some of their other more serious ones. Fully featured solo mode. Again, see my earlier comment, though. If you're doing a heist, I mean, I know that you're trying to appeal to all player counts, but WTF. And it's a game that is going to be soon. I mean, it's not in development. It's been very mature, they said, nearly finished for quite some time. Just waiting to pull the trigger, essentially. Player powers, like driving, but there's going to be skill checks as well. And no one plays as the cops. Sometime later this fall. That player count is tricky, but I like it, especially if you've got more dynamics there. And I am all for crazy chaos in a leader style of manner. So give it to me. As a side note, someone much better than myself put out a pretty freaking outstanding video. And if you're familiar with Shelf Sides, you may have seen their latest in the form of the rise and fall of Fantasy Flight Games. A video only someone like myself could ever hope to do. And FFG, right? You know, again, it's just more a panning of what could have been, what was, and what we still wish for in your forms of LCGs or even the previous Arkham situations that third edition's basically been abandoned in that way. X-Wing, RIP, and things along those lines. Oh man, Wiz War 8th edition. That is piece de resistance. So you can give it a look-see and give them some support and I guess tell them I sent you. I don't really know where to go with that one, but it's worth a shout out because they're putting out something amazing in that regard. Then we're talking because I was scrolling doing my crowdfunding roundup from this past week, and all of a sudden on the front of the GameFound page, minutes after they announced it, was Elder Scrolls, The Betrayal of the Second Era, new expansion content. We have a GameFound preview page. Any idea what it's going to be? No, just five, you heard it here, 5 expansions, which between the time of me filming that right before this and now somehow already has 7,700 people following it and more surprises to come. So is this game something for you? It's chip theory squared, if you will. And it's one of those that, you know, they sent me Roth, and I'll be talking about Roth very near in the future for a review on that. But this is the one that everyone was clamoring, playing tons and tons of, you know, hours for in the first place. So now you can spend $400 to $500 for Elder Scrolls on a different platform than what you've already paid for and played elsewhere, right? Speaking of expansion content, though, let's stay with that. You heard me cover previously the upcoming crossover for Mindbug and King of Tokyo from Nerd Lab Games. However, sneaking in the background there, browsing Board Game Geek like I always sort of pseudo am, Agent Avenue, my number 2 game of 2024, is coming back with an expansion. Whoo dog. It is called Division M. Introducing agents to a new danger zone. New special agents to create danger zone around your home space. 15 unique extra black market cards. And just more awesomeness. So I can't wait to see what they have done with this one as well. Then, again, I guess we have to talk about this because it's making waves on crowdfunding, but I guess what my brain goes to with this as well is something slightly adjacent than just the straight up regular topic of talking about a game that is long out of print, long desired and wanted by many, and acquired by few in the form of Camp Grizzly. Now on crowdfunding, raising about $250,000 at the time of me filming this, and getting a fair number of backers, with a 7 expansion content included as a package deal with the base game, offering you more, and more of the same things with a slight twist that you got in the base game already for basically a $400 plus on the secondary market game in the last couple years from a relatively interested buyer's side of things. Now you can get that anywhere between $60 and $80 before shipping, depending on if you want to bling it out. So it begs the question, my adjacent mind and my all over the place sort of thinking, is this really as good, right? This was a game, I think, that is doing relatively well on crowdfunding. But it was one of those games that I saw, and you guys have let me know in the comment section that, this is you don't know what you're missing. You're an idiot. Again, I hear that comment all the time. I am an idiot. But the conundrum for me is to say, is this as good as desired? Or has all the clamoring for this game been because it has been, in part, out of print, right? Loss or inability to get makes the heart grow fonder, right? And so that is what I wonder with this, because I would have, truth be told, expected a little bit higher. And I'm not saying that what it's raised is bad in any way, shape, or form. But I also feel like the other test of this market later this month is going to be Hanami, the remake of Samurai, right? There is this clamoring for these games that are out of print that you can't get your hands on, right? I have felt that with games on my wish list, right? You're scouring the interwebs. You're like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to find it. I am going to. And when you do, that dopamine hit is there. But if it's not as hard to get, if it is just more now easily available, is there that desire? Or are a lot of people not getting it because they're going, I'll just pick it up in the secondary market. I'll just pick it up on retail. I'll just wait. And I just don't know. But that's where I go with that, is how much of what we're not seeing is there? Or is this just the saturation of everyone is getting it because it is such a good deal to get 7 expansions of extra stuff and a new upgraded edition as a whole? I don't know. But it's a question that I have to ponder out loud sometimes because I get to sit in front of a camera and do this because it's fun. So I'm putting it out there. Okay, Capstone. They're doing some weekly videos right now, and they got some upcoming Essen releases as well. The 2 most recent announcements from this past week are games that you have not heard of. No, we're not talking about Sunavelo, the 2-player head-to-head style game. No, we're not talking about any of the expansions from their big games. No, we're not talking about Sanctuary, the upcoming spin, slightly lighter version of Ark Nova, which is actually getting kind of thrashed on the comment section right now as one of my most anticipated games at the retail side of things of the year. It's got a 7.3 rating right now. Ooh. And that's another interesting test as a side note, right? Are these people that are just expecting it to be Ark Nova squared or Ark Nova, the semi not fully as complex version of things? Or are they going into it knowing it's going to be that much different and not what they think it is versus what they want it to be compared to what it actually freaking is? And that's why I need to have a hands-on at some point to let you know. But the 2 that are coming out that they just announced as well, Panscape and Forestry. 1 card-based and 1 a slightlier overall heavy Euro. Forestry. Forest stewards who are balancing harvesting with sustainability. Apparently, going back to the forest is all the thing because Paverson, as I just talked about last week as well, announced that their upcoming one is basically the same thing set in Daimyo, Edo, Japan, and you're managing forestry with a worker placement vibe. But this is doing similar from a Eurogame-focused strategic action and resource management style with a dual worker placement system where you get a harvester and a manager, each with distinct different responsibilities. The harvester does his harvesting thing, and the, manager does the managing thing, you know, the sawmills and the contracts and the processing. You have to spend your allocation points between both workers to make sustainable choices, infrastructure, and thriving forest. So up to 2 hours for a playtime. No wait yet. Panscape is just frogs and a strategic card game, 30 minutes or less, that you place down and you do grid building, card management in the spatial puzzle aspect of things as you choose your cards from the shared display, add a card to your pond, get species, set collect, and have a jumper frog that hunts around and allows you to, gather the things in the way you need to in the first place. So are either of those super intriguing to you? Probably not, but Capstone's got a wide variety and I give them kudos there. Then this one comes out of nowhere. You probably don't remember the Forests of Pangaea, but the Dawn of Pangaea is now coming back as an evolution system from Thomas Franken, the designer, and staying true to the enhancing creatures, powerful ancient guardians, and choosing 2 of 5 actions that are available to you on your turn in order to grow again. What are you growing? What are you growing? Oh, you're growing your forest as you summon elemental creatures and make Gaia's dominant energy regrow on the planet. Woohoo! Right? Apparently there's a theme. I totally didn't plan this because, again, you know I'm not smart enough to actually link these things together to make it make sense and to make it flow smoothly. That is not my vibe, but somehow we're doing it today. I came across this, so I thought I'd highlight it. I don't even know anything about Dungeon Ludico as a board game publisher. They don't have any games that you would recognize. No games that I even recognized when I pulled up their page. However, they are coming out at some point in the near future with a Sherlock Holmes cooperative Bloodstorm style game in 2026 as a cooperative dungeon crawler in a dark horror infused world where Holmes and his allies investigate brutal murders and occult conspiracies, 10 linked scenario campaigns, variable player powers, and environmental puzzles. I don't know, right? Sherlock Holmes. Speaking of IPs that you may recognize, we're actually going to go sideways with that and transition into... Remember the PC game Red Alert? Well, Red Alert is getting a new board game called Red Alert New World Order. Not the NWO from the wrestling side of things, though. Again, from a company that you've never heard of in the form of Wolfstorm Entertainment. But we're getting alternative WW2 historically based games. Combat is fast-paced and cinematic. Side note, marketing buzz BS, right? How the effing deuce do you make a... do you make it cinematic, right? You're gonna have people bust out their iPhone cameras and film it while you're doing the dice rolling on it? I don't know. You're getting classic everything they say, maps and all that. Nostalgia yet modern board game experience. It's a tribute to the golden era of the RTSs. That's real-time shooters for those of you not in the know. I'm not usually in the know, so this is a good one for me. Now reborn on the tabletop with explosive detail. Alternate history flair. You just can't make this stuff up, right? I just have fun with it. That's what I do on this channel. I'm an idiot. Then, last up, a little extra here at the end. Vampire Survivors! That PC game of shoot 'em up bullets and kill everything that you can is getting a board game from... Gray Fox. Gray Fox is going to give us some way, shape, and form on crowdfunding this version of things. Choose your survivor, endless swarms, roguelite light situation here, unlocking power-ups, passives, and Fear the Reaper. But don't worry, you can get VIP access if you go and sign up with your email address over on their website. Can it do the Dead Cells and Slay the Spire style of things, or... maybe even the Risk of Rain? Or is it going to be something else altogether? Gray Fox, you're really going to have to prove it to me, though, with this one. That is your biggest news and takeaways from everything going on. There you go. Have a great freaking fantastic day. Let me know, what did I miss? Shoot me an email with more deets, and I'm always happy to talk about it. Peace out. See you later.